We're going to be talking about the soul's journey through time and space. And it's all based on those experiences that I had during my near-death experience. And I just want to make a quick announcement that last week, or on August 26th, I found out that my book, Med School After Menopause, The Journey of My Soul, received an award, and it's a gold medal winner. So I took first prize in the category of spiritual leadership from Living Now Book Awards. So I'm really excited to share that news. And I wrote this book for the people, to help people create a path to healing their own life, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, by sharing my own stories of my near-death experiences, how I became clairvoyant, clairaudient, and clairsentient, and how that transpired over several years, and how I eventually became also a medium and was guided to go to medical school at the age of 54. So this book is available. You can find it on the IANDS website, as well as Amazon and all other online platforms worldwide. So this presentation is going to take your soul on a journey. And we're going to be talking about our souls in this current life, our souls in a near-death experience, our soul connections to our ancestors, our souls in past lives. And I'm going to tell you a story that happened to me during this past year, where I saw my own past life in a meditation, and I know who I was in that life. And we're going to be talking about the souls in the afterlife. So I've done numerous interviews about my near-death experience, and I did this interview about a month ago by Passion Harvest in Australia, and it already has over 100,000 views, and it's called I Was an Atheist Until I Died. So if you want to hear the whole story about my near-death experience and a little bit more in detail, then this is an excellent source to view that whole story. So for those of you that are familiar with Gabor Mate, he is a psychotherapist, a medical doctor. One of his famous sayings is, trauma is not what happens to you. Trauma is what happens inside of you as a result of what happens to you. Now think about this for a moment and change it to a near-death experience. A near-death experience is not what happens to you. A near-death experience is what happens inside you as a result of what happens to you. So for me, that was a transformation on the soul level. So like I told you before, I was an atheist before my near-death experience. If I could not see it, touch it, feel it, smell it, or hear it, as far as I was concerned, it did not exist. So after these experiences, my entire perception of how I interpreted the meaning of life changed. I now understood that I have something called a soul. And when I stood in that white light, I knew that my soul is divine light. We carry this divine light within us. We come from this divine light and we return to this divine light. Life is eternal. My soul is eternal. And we are all connected. We are all one. And I'm going to explain that in more detail as we go along. So what is the soul? The soul is that true essence of who you really are. It's not your personality. It's not who you think you are or who you define yourself to be. It's that essence that you were born with. Think of an infant, a newborn baby. That is just pure essence. And as humans, we're not just a bundle of chemical and atoms with chemical reactions like they teach you in medical school. We have emotions, we have feelings, intuition, we have a knowing about things, and we can't identify everything with our five senses of hearing, tasting, seeing, touching, and smelling. And that real self includes your soul. The soul is made of atoms, just like your body, because it's made out of something, right? And we are just bundles of energy, or atoms trickle down. So where can we find the soul? Is it in the brain, in the heart, in the pineal gland? The soul may not reside in any specific organs. Does it have to have a specific place, or is it just sort of omnipresent? So the soul is what is really having an experience living in your body during your life. And we know that people are having experiences when outside their body during a near-death experience. The soul is that essence that is your true self that exists regardless if it has a body or not. And when I was studying mediumship in England at Arthur Findlay College, one of my teachers shared this music with us. And she said, I want to see where the soul takes you. Well, the music was sung by a man whose name is John Henrik Fjällgren, and the music is called Daniel's York. And he is from Sweden. He was adopted from Colombia when he was 3 months old, and he was raised in Sweden, up in the northern part of the country, by the Sami, which are the indigenous people of Sweden, and that is the language that he sang in. He works as a reindeer herder, and when his best friend Daniel passed away, he sat outside his cabin and cried, and he heard Daniel's soul sing this song to him. And he then performed the song at the Swedish Got Talent Festival and won that talent show with this song. And the song is about Daniel's soul transitioning. So when I heard the song the first time, my soul journeyed back to the light. And it was that realization at that moment that we are already part of the afterlife and the spirit world. We are living in the same bubble. The spirit world is part of our world. We don't really have to raise our frequency or lower our frequencies and do all these things. And I've taught mediumship classes myself, and I say, we raise your frequency and the spirit world comes down and we meet in the middle. But now I feel more, the spirit world is really part of our world. They're really right next to us. We just have to tune in. It's an illusion we experience on earth that we're not part of the spirit world unless we just learn to tune in and tap into this realm. Our souls are already part of all that is. We may just not be aware. And this is the album cover that the song was taken from. So for all of you who are listening, how do we explain how and when the soul enters into the body? Where does it come from? What is it made of? Where does it reside? And if you know the answer to that question, please send me an email because I'm really curious myself. So we also have soul connections to our ancestors because we are interconnected through energy grids as well as our physical DNA to our ancestors. And ancestral healing is part of a counseling modality. And having gone through medical school, of course, we have several counseling classes. So I studied this ancestral healing with Mark Boleyn, who is the author of the book, It Didn't Start With You, after I graduated from medical school, because I started seeing the connections to ancestral problems and things that were repeating in families when I was doing mediumship readings for people. And so I wanted to learn more about it and to see what I could learn through counseling modalities. So now I have the counseling modality and the mediumship working together, which is very exciting in order to help other people heal whatever troubles them. So ancestral healing relates to the patterns of behavior and experiences of our ancestors that we may have taken on subconsciously. And these patterns are repeated in the generations that follow until they're healed. And once we recognize why we're having certain experiences, we can find the patterns that are causing them and the tools to heal them. Because we are connected to our ancestors, not only through the DNA, which they have already proven with research, but also through the time and space and the invisible grid. It's our soul connections. So we take on patterns of behavior and thoughts subconsciously from our own parents, as well as aunts and uncles and grandparents, even if we didn't know them. We get entangled in these energies, and they have a way of repeating themselves in order to be resolved and healed. So we can have patterns of depression, worry, panic attacks, financial worries, relationship problems, trauma, OCD, physical disease, or any type of fear that repeats itself subconsciously until they surface in our consciousness, and we can get that aha moment, and then we can resolve it. So these cyclical patterns you can also be seeing in cyclical poverty, which has been studied a lot. So our souls are connected through time and space. So where are we as humans in this soul journey now? Well, we're going through an awakening, a spiritual and conscious transformation. And some are realizing we are interconnected with all that is. We are creating illumination and enlightenment. We're developing a connection between the mind and the heart. We are connecting our mind with our heart and soul. And there is an old prophecy by the Inca of the eagle of the north and the condor of the south, that they will fly together. And this eagle of the north symbolizes the mind, and the condor of the south symbolizes the heart. So it's a merging of the mind and the heart. And this window of time began in 1993. We are living in this time. So how exciting is that? Think about that. So the mind is what directs your actions based on its interpretations, right? You see or hear something, your mind's going to react. It's going to send the signals. Your brain sends the signals to your body to alert it. The heart is what synchronizes and entrains with other magnetic fields. So we as humans resonate and entrain with other organisms from our heart space. Our heart has the ability to affect other organisms. So think about that. How many of you talk to plants and have a green thumb? And in Stephen Harrod's book, The Secret Teachings of Plants, The Intelligence of the Heart and the Direct Perception of Nature, we learn that the electromagnetic field around the heart and how it synchronizes and entrains with other electromagnetic fields that it comes in contact with, whether it has a heart or not. Our heart, therefore, has the ability to affect other organisms. And Dr. John Beaulieu, in his book, The Human Tuning, Sound Healing with Tuning Forks, talks about the resonance and how it can be understood as a merging creating when energy moves back and forth between two or more bodies. Dr. Beaulieu then speaks about faith healers. They lay their hands on the body and allow themselves to empathically resonate wherever spirit leads them. The resulting interaction between the person and the healer becomes a divine communion. A resonant returning to sound creates a healing response. And you can do simple experiments with yourself, like ask yourself a question. So ask your mind, do I like chocolate chip pancakes? Or any other question you want to ask. Then ask the same question to your heart and see if you get the same answer. So pay attention, focus on the mind and focus on the heart and see what answers you get. So it's all frequencies. And Buckminster Fuller said, the physical universe is an aggregate of frequencies. And I'm going to show you 2 minutes of this video about synchronization. And when you watch these metronomes syncing up, pay attention to it and think about how you sync up as a human with your heart, with other people that are around you. metronome on the right, trying to sync up. Notice how it's going to start syncing up. Joining the rest of them. So think about your own heart and how you synchronize with everything that is around you, and how you are affected by other people's energy, and how your own energy is affecting other people. So we're going to take this one step further. Now that we understand that we're all syncing up, we're all part of something bigger. So we are all inhabitants of the earth, and the population on earth is about 7.8 billion. According to healthline.com, the body makes about 173 to 259 billion red blood cells per day. And according to Google, about 385,000 babies are born each day. So imagine that every human is like a cell, what a cell is to your body. Every human is like a cell to something bigger, the earth. Every cell in your body is part of something bigger, your body. Every human, like a cell to the earth. Every human possessing one soul. All humans are part of the whole. All souls are part of the whole. All vegetation is part of the whole. All animals are part of the whole. All man-made creations are part of the whole. Earth itself is part of something bigger. Earth is part of the universe. It is all interconnected. It is all a divine hologram. Everything is a reflection of itself when viewed from different perspectives. It is all alive. Hylozoism. Earth itself is a living organism. The universe is a living organism. We all carry a vibrational frequency that contributes to the existence of the whole. This includes nature, animals, and inanimate objects. It is like one giant orchestra. And the soul has lived many lives before and carries its knowledge and experiences from past lives with it in what we call the Akashic records. And I'm going to tell you about a soul journey that happened to me in several meditations where I saw myself in a different time period on a different continent. And this is something that transpired over the last year. I knew that I was somewhere in Asia, but I didn't know where in the beginning. And this is how it began. So in the first meditation, I find myself standing outside this red brick wall that is lined with Buddha statues. And I know that I lived inside and that there was a city inside behind this wall of bricks. And I knew that I lived in a temple, in a monastery with the monks. But I was also aware that I came to this monastery as a young boy around the age of 10. And I had been sent to live with the monks because my parents had died, but I didn't know how they had died. And I later, as I started researching this, I found that the statues that I had seen was part of an ancient citadel of Ayutthaya in Thailand, 1350 to 1767. Then in a separate meditation, I asked to go back to that place with the Buddha statues to learn more. And I found myself inside this enormous temple. And I couldn't tell if it was a temple or a palace, but there was this large golden Buddha statue. But behind it, it was glass, like windows, but they were colored. So they looked like, to me, like mosaic glass. And this was in a current time period. And I found myself joined in a tourist guide. There was a guide bringing us through this place. And this is where I was standing, but it was in the current time. And then after coming out of the meditation, I asked my daughter and her boyfriend, because they're very spiritual and they know a lot about Buddhism. And I said, I saw this large golden Buddha, but it had these glass windows behind it. Do you know where this place is? And they said, no, we don't. But why don't you just Google large Buddha statue with mosaic windows and see what comes up? And after some Googling, this is the image that I found, which was the exact image that I had seen in my meditation. And the reason that it looked like glass windows behind the Buddha is because this is a temple that is built of glass. And this temple is also still standing and is a tourist attraction in Thailand where people go now. So that is something that helped me locate and the place that I was visiting in the meditation. And in this same meditation, I went outside and I became the young boy again. And it was, several hundred years earlier. And I was standing by a river. And I was aware that there was a temple or castle across the river, up on the other side of the river. But standing by this river, there were boats coming with tradespeople, and they weren't Asian. So I was surprised to see that these people looked European, and they were wearing European clothing. And I know that they came there for trade, and they were bringing goods to trade with the people that lived there. And before leaving this meditation, I met a monk, and the monk said, know your own history. And I said, okay, know your own history. So after coming out of the meditation, I started to understand that this was one of my past lives and something I needed to understand. So I started researching it more. And this is something from Asia Tourist Advisor. And it says, standing right on the river, the Wat Chai Wat Naram is, in my view, one of the most impressive of the remaining monuments of old Ayutthaya. It was built in 1629 by King Prasat Tong, probably on the site of his mother's cremation. King Prasat Tong was actually a commoner who overthrew the previous king. Now pay attention to that. And then I couldn't get to a lot of information on the internet. So I started looking for history books on Ayutthaya, Thailand, because now I knew that that's what it was called. And I went to Amazon and I came across this book, The Lord of the Golden Tower, King Prasat Tong and the Building of Wat Chai Wat Naram. And notice that the image on this book is the same as the previous image. And that, ironically, is exactly what is situated on the other side of the river from exactly where I was standing. And in this book, there is also a map, and I was really perplexed about the river. And I said, where is there a river in Thailand? And sure enough, this river ran right by the old citadel of Ayutthaya. And that's why it was so, they were so rich, and because they had so much trade, and there were tradespeople that came from Europe to do trade because of the access of the river to Ayutthaya. So all that I had seen, I found maps in this book that verified all the information that I had seen. And in this book, I learned that there was a 10-year-old boy, and his name was Atitayawang, and he was in line to be the king. And it was his parents that were killed, and he became king in 1629, and when he was 10 years old. And he only reigned for 36 days because Prasat Tong, who was also on the title of this book, executed him. And the Prasat Tong has also killed his parents, and that is why he was sent to live with the monks. But Prasat Tong was still afraid that he was going to take back the throne, and he had the boy killed. So I now understand I was this boy in this past life, as I could verify all the information in this book that I was, of course, guided to Amazon to find this one book, and it was only one copy, and it was sold. This book was published back in 1992, and it was sold out of a Goodwill store somewhere in the United States. This one copy that had all the information that I learned in that meditation. So I now understand that my soul journey from this past life and how it relates to my current soul journey in this life. So that commoner, King Prasatong, was the one who overthrew the previous king, which was this little boy. So let's connect the dots. So why did I share Daniel's yoke? We're all connected. We all carry the light within us. The synchronization and entrainment of your heart to everything else, the soul connections to our ancestors, the soul journey from a past life. How does this connect into the soul journey through time and space? Well, when we have memories or see ourselves in a meditation, I believe the spirit world is trying to show us something. They're trying to help us find our way. And what did I learn in this past life that I need to know or understand in this life? Well, there is a reason why we are recalling these memories. And for me, part of it is to teach you so that you have access and you know that you can learn from your own past life experiences and how then this relates to your current lives. Because your soul lives forever. And we know from communicating with the spirit world that our soul is eternal. The soul is alive and well on the other side of the veil. And when I work as a medium, I often have clients ask me, what was the sign that, my loved one showed me from the spirit world last week? Or a few weeks ago, I had somebody ask me, I built something for my loved one in the spirit world. Can you tell me what that is? So I have proof that they're really there. And these messages came through and they showed me exactly what they had built for them. And that just shows that the soul, the spirit world is well and alive. And they are right there with us. And they are very aware of what we're doing. And we are all part of that same world. And as we have learned today, the soul within you is awakening, as is the soul of all of humanity, because we are all connected. And we need to have compassion for each other. We need to create community and a sense of belonging for all. We need to work together because we resonate, synchronize, and entrain with other souls. So when you say you don't know who you are, or you're just tuning into a fraction of that true self of who you are, and to find that true soul essence, you need to just quiet the mind and tune into your whole self on a soul level, and take your soul on a soul journey in a meditation. And develop that trust in yourself and find your soul's purpose, your true desire of what is actually totally natural to you. And it is that what comes so naturally to you, that is your true essence. That is who you truly are. If it's hard, it's not your true essence. So in my book, I developed a meditation to help people connect with that true essence. And I'm going to read this meditation to you now. So it's called the hourglass meditation because in the book, it looks like an hourglass, but only half of it fits on the screen. So I'm going to read it the way it's read in the book. So I want everybody just to, wiggle out your body and take a deep breath. Close your eyes if you're comfortable doing that. And just take a deep sigh, breathe in through the mouth. And exhale through the mouth. Unclench your jaw, relax your body, and just tune in and listen to this short meditation. I trust the inner knowledge I carry in my soul and heart. I take a deep breath and fill my body with white light. I shine my bright light from my soul and heart. I extend my light into the world and sky. I am the person I want to be. I listen to my messages. I am connected. I am divine. I am light. I am love. I am. I am. I am love. I am divine. I am connected. I listen to my messages. I am the person I want to be. I extend my light into the world inside. I shine my bright light from my soul and heart. I take a deep breath and fill my body with white light. I trust the inner knowledge I carry in my. Then go ahead and open your eyes. So, how do we learn to live from a space of awareness and intention? Just quiet your mind on a daily basis. Find that true essence of your soul. And remember, we are all connected and all belong. We all carry our own unique frequency to complete the whole. We are all needed in our own unique way. We are all connected. We are all one. It is all divine. And so are you. And I wanted to let people know that I also host a podcast called Dr. Lotte Science with Soul. And I created this podcast, again, to help people create healing for their own life, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, and to bridge that gap between science and soul. And to learn more about me, please visit my websites. It's drlotte.com and divinespiritualessence.com. The two websites are linked, so you can go back and forth between them. Dr. Lotte is more my physician website when I work as a physician. And Divine Spiritual Essence is my spiritual website where you can book sessions with me and sign up for a newsletter to stay up to date on all the upcoming events and things that I'm doing. I provide sessions for medical intuitive, medium psychic, and spirit guide readings. And the spirit guide readings also include a spirit portrait because I see the spirit world and the spirit guides. I also provide healing in ancestral healing, and that sometimes also happens in a medical intuitive session because we tap into the ancestral healing part. So I hope you all enjoyed the presentation, and I hope you all enjoy your soul journey.